Well, this is a fun episode that I'm doing. Hello, hi, hello, and welcome back to the What Is K-pop podcast, where in which we're talking. I normally talk all things K-pop, but today, it's not about K-pop, unfortunately. It's not unfortunate because this is kind of an important thing to talk about, or at least I want to talk about as a fellow autistic person. But yeah, no, today, I think, yeah, I'm gonna upload this the same day that I'm recording this. So on the 30th of, no, not on November, the 30th of October, 2025. Woo. Also, I'm like really congested, but like in a very annoying way. Like, it just kind of feels like icky. Yeah. Yeah. You know, the problems. I have problems, which I think we already knew that, more issues than I usually do have. So yeah, obviously we're not talking about K-pop today. We are talking about or like could cause harm, but I also understand that a lot of people also listen from America. So I guess like by 4 police officers in Pocatello in Idaho. I don't know how to say it in my accent. Like I've heard it been said, obviously, like from the police, from the news. I watched which one is it that has like the peacock-ish logo? I've forgotten already. Oh, good lord. Police footage, and like I don't know if like which news stations are good or not, so I don't know if it is good that I got my information from them. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like how I get my news mostly from the Daily Mail or the BBC. I don't really watch the news from other sources. Mainly the reason why I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but the reason I guess I only watch it from that is actually just because of it's where my parents just watch the news from is the BBC. Like we have on this show called Pointless, and afterwards they have like the 6 o'clock news, and so we just watch that news news broadcast is what I think, yeah, what I'm trying to say. So I just watch that. But yeah, sometimes my parents watch the other ones, like Channel 4. Yeah, we watch that. So no, I don't know kind of the terms on that, but I do know that sometimes the BBC can be a bit biased. But we're not talking about that today, we're talking about Victor Perez. So on the 5th of April 2025 at 5:10 p.m, a security camera captured several people struggling, identified as the grandfather, mother, and younger sister of Victor, who were struggling with him over a 9-inch kitchen knife. And during the event, Victor attempted to strike his grandfather with the knife, and his grandfather returned those hits. And he explained that a man who appeared to be intoxicated was wielding a knife and was trying to stab other people. This would be the third time since December 2024 that the police have been dispatched to the address, and in one of those previous incidents, the mother stated that Victor has a history of violent outbursts. And the 911 operator dispatched 4 police officers who were not aware of Perez's. And this occurred within 16 seconds of the police officers arriving. Shit, that was an Amazon delivery. Yeah, I think my dad must have ordered some. I know what it was. Right, yeah, no, sorry. I ordered some, like, diamond art landscape pictures to do. But I had absolutely no idea that they were coming, like, today, because I thought they were coming, like, tomorrow. So that just scared the living Jesus out of me. Fucking hell. Oh, you know when you, like, have that horrible, like, feeling in your stomach. Oh, that, like, flipping heck. That scared me. Also got an email from my college that I, went to. That makes sense. Well done, Sophie. The college that I've been doing like online courses with, they've sent me the certificates, thankfully, because I knew that I'd lost them and I didn't have it's online. for them, which, is helpful. But, the annoying thing of I have to figure out which colleges I have certificates from, which, I mean, it's fine. I'm a grown woman, I can do that. But I get anxious on the phone, and I'm pretty sure that it was, obviously now it's like 2025-2026 school year. I did it in 23-24. So that was a hot minute ago, but that is what I need to do. Oh, I hated that anxious feeling. Oh, flipping heck. When you just have that horrible anxiety. Oh, blooming heck. When you're like, oh my god. And you feel a little bit, not crazy, but when your tummy's just like, oh, adrenaline. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, we'll get back onto Victor in a minute. I just needed to de-stress a moment. But actually, what was kind of weird last night was like, I had gone downstairs to do some tidying up because my parents had like moved some stuff around when we were cooking dinner. Well, my mum was cooking dinner, and I decided that I'd move everything to a completely different area in the kitchen. So, like, by the fan, because we don't really need the fan at the moment. Someone's trying to get out of something. And so my mum calls up to me. She's like, "Oh, Sophie, you making that noise?" I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm not." And my mum goes out to like have a look, and it's coming from my downstairs cupboard, or the shoe cupboard as we call it. And this is so bad, but it isn't bad because we didn't know. And yeah, the poor boy was terrified. My dad got him to settle down for like a couple of minutes just to like calm him down and stuff. But yeah, that was kind of a bit freaky. So yeah, I'm also alone in the house right now, so that doesn't help matters. But we are going to carry on back to Victor Perez. I'm so sorry for that deviation, but I really just needed to say that stuff. Okay, so we're on to the officers arriving. When they arrived, they gave verbal commands to Victor, and obviously he didn't comply. However, in response, he raised his knife, moved towards them, shot him 12 times. It did originally say in the video I watched it was 9 times. This occurred within 16 seconds of the officers arriving, and when obviously Victor was sent to the hospital, his leg needed to be amputated due to, I assume that's where he received most of he got shot most pew-pewed and most in the leg, and was then in critical condition until a week later when he passed away from his injuries on the 12th of April. So obviously an investigation did have to take place, with the Eastern Idaho Critical Incident Task Force beginning investigations of the shooting, and the Idaho State Police saying that evidence would be turned over to the area prosecutor. But unfortunately, on the 3rd of September, 2025, the Idaho Attorney General's office stated that they would not be filing charges against the officers who were involved in the shooting. With Deputy Attorney General Jeff Knight acknowledging that while the tragedy, the shooting was a tragedy, that the state would be unable to provide beyond a reasonable doubt that the 4 officers who discharged their weapons were not justified in using deadly force. So the video taken by the neighbor was released, and on the 12th of April, which was a Saturday, over 300 people attended the scheduled candlelight prayer vigil outside the Portneuf Medical Center, then protested at City Hall. So I'm trying to think of it from a lot of different standpoints, because obviously being autistic myself, I do know what it is like when I'm having a meltdown, or at least like in serious distress, like I get panic attacks and stuff, and it can be really hard to kind of not, want to be left alone. And like, people obviously are trying to help, but they can't really, because I'm so like stressed out and stuff. Like, it's hard to say that, like that I would resort to grabbing a weapon to defend myself against people when I'm feeling that way, because I don't know, but I don't think that you should just kill. Oh, he was. I didn't know. Oh, I should have probably clocked that because of the surname. So the Autistic Self Advocacy Network, which I assume is American, calls for end to police violence after cops kill autistic Latino teen Victor Perez, and that was on the 14th. This article was on the 14th of April 2025. So the police chief said that the threat to the police officers were immediate and which justified the shootings, but I don't know. Like, he had cerebral palsy, which, if you don't know, does affect your cerebral palsy. I want to get this right. So it affects, it's a group of conditions that affect movement and posture. And it's caused by damage that occurs to the developing brain, mostly before birth. Okay. And they might have exaggerated reflexes, and they have poor coordination, stiff muscles, weak muscles, and tremors, and they might have problems with sensation, vision, hearing, and speech. I don't think that Victor would have even hurt anyone, or at least if if the grandfather trying to get the knife away, it would have kind of been perhaps superficial cuts and stuff, defensive shallow wounds if he was to have gotten hurt and stuff. It's just, I asked my dad about it, and he was like, well, he didn't know, and that if he's a danger, then he should have. Shooting someone 12 times, that is 4 shots each in the span of 12 to 16 seconds without any attempts to de-escalate the situation. And I assume that perhaps the police officers, I don't know how many police officers are in each town and stuff, but I assume that at least they would have at least been aware from the initial report, that the dispatch officers might have clocked that, yeah, this is a house that has had quite a few reports recently, and that the kid is autistic and has cerebral palsy. I assume that that information is available, and I'm like, why didn't those police officers get that information and have those de-escalation techniques? They could have, perhaps guided the family away, of been like, I know that you're trying to help, but obviously he has a weapon. We're going to try to calm him down and then get the weapon off of him, and then figure things out from there. Because when you're in a level of distress, you just do need to calm down, and then you do kind of not feel the need to have a weapon like a knife with you. But I do think perhaps because Victor was disabled and a person of colour, that perhaps, even in here it says that they have to address the white supremacy at the roots of police violence, and I do agree with that. Perhaps because of how the report was given, that the 911 caller said that this person does appear to be intoxicated. Maybe they didn't know the family and were just reacting to a situation that they thought was happening at the time, and just said that perhaps he's intoxicated, and that that then the police officers thought shooting someone would be not. Well, it's the shooting part. I just don't understand that. Because I'm like, how about we just don't have guns? I get it's a part of the Constitution, and that, it's a part of the amendments. I don't know what terminology is. I don't know. I'm not American. But those were made in a country for a country that no longer exists, you know? Like, I know that much. It was really made like a long time ago. And I just don't think that they should be upheld to at least the standard that it is. Because there's even like, I think it's one of the amendments that says that when a brung upon a court of law or something like that, or a court of public people, something like that, the defendant has the right to like stand in front of the person who, you know, some it's like they have the right to be able to defend themselves against the person who brought the thing forward. And that's why like speed cameras aren't able to be put up in America. um and I'm like, well, you know, those things were made for an America that isn't really a thing anymore. Like, perhaps those are quite outdated, and like those rights, perhaps to have guns, shouldn't be so much in place. Like, if you live in a world where violence against a teenager who is in obvious distress is just normal place and you're defending the police officers, then there is something wrong here. Like, no matter what, it's a horrible situation. And I don't think those police officers should have gotten away with it, because I don't think Victor would have actually done any lethal harm. Like, he was in distress. Like, you know, he shouldn't have been, and it shouldn't have ever been justified. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah. Thank you as always for listening, and I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon. Bye.